Hi folks, I'm on Android.com where we get on Android every day. Anyway, I know a lot of you asked me how to make a hyperlapse video. For those of you who don't know what hyperlapse is, it's like a time-lapse video, but you can add motion, like where I'm walking, or if you're going around a big building and it looks, you know, sort of smooth. That's a hyperlapse. And also you can do cool stuff like make yourself look like you're flying, like Superman, through the streets of San Francisco, for example. It's a really cool way to make a video and, you know, show something with time. It's like almost like a time machine for photos and videos. All right, I would totally recommend using a DSLR camera such as the Canon series or Nikon series, the best camera you can use. But I wanted to make this tutorial so any of you guys can make a hyperlapse video with an Android device. So yesterday and today I spent the whole day, making hyperlapse video on 4 of my phones, the LG G4, the Nexus 6, PlusOne, and the Galaxy S6. All of these phones support raw images, and I wanted to kind of show you that you can do more with raw images, especially if you want to make time-lapse, hyperlapse videos. You should be working with raw images. That way you end up with the highest quality videos. If you want to make hyperlapse videos, there's actually a simple app for it. I think it's called the Microsoft Time-Lapse Mobile if you go on the Play Store. Now that one is very, very simple. It's just going to take your videos, or actually it's going to allow you to make a hyperlapse. It also does 4K, but the quality you get after is not that great. Like I said about RAW versus JPEG, that one it will give you a 4K video and it's going to have some settings that the app has. So it's not the best way to do it. It's not going to give you the best quality. The best way to do it is to take the raw files, raw images, let's say with your Android device, and with that you can go ahead and use Adobe After Effects, and then you can go ahead and mess with the image and make it just the way you want to, and then make it into time lapse. You can also reverse it. Also, you can choose which part of the image you want to use. If you're just doing regular time lapse, you can even add panning, virtual zooming, all that good stuff. Now you can't do that with an app. The app is the easier way to go, but if you're serious about making hyperlapse, if you want the best quality out of it, this is probably the method to do it. Anyway, this is a tutorial for those of you who want to have the best hyperlapse videos out of your Android raw images. You can also use regular JPEG files if you don't have a phone that supports raw images. I cover that also. You can make some good hyperlapse videos. Now, one thing to note, you'll have to have desktop software called Adobe After Effects, and also probably Photoshop or Lightroom. If you don't have those, you can't really make the time-lapse videos, then you may want to stick with the apps. But learning about this can also help you with your videos, and maybe you're in school and stuff. It's definitely gonna help you out. I just kind of picked this up on my vacation, but I just want to share with you. This tutorial is kind of long because it took me a long time to make it, all day yesterday and today. And there's just a lot of things to explain, but I took it all and made it for you guys, so I hope you guys enjoy it. Anyway, let's go do this. Let's go head out to San Francisco on my bike and let's take some shots with our Android device. Oh yeah, before we go out there, let me go ahead and show you how to use the camera when you're doing the hyperlapse shots. Let's go do this, baby. Alright guys, before we go out in the field, because I'm not taking my DSLR camera out there, I'm going to be taking my Kodak 360. I know there's going to be some light problems. Let me go ahead and briefly explain how to use the camera. I'm using a Nexus 6 here, and grab the FV5 camera, FV5, and let me go ahead and show you how to set it. So when you're doing hyperlapse, you'll want to have a point, like a center point where you're watching. So let's say I'm doing a hyperlapse here from to the right and left. You'll want to have a point. So let's say I'm going to choose the center of the star, or maybe the top of the star. So you're going to align that starting here, and every shot you're going to have to align it, and that's what's going to keep it stable. All right, and to get this line in camera FV5, go into settings and go into the third tab there, and you can choose the crosshair, which gives you that nice center cross effect there. So I just want to show you that. And also you want to set the ISO to manual, all right, before you do it, because if you don't do it, if you have auto ISO or auto shutter speed, if the light changes, you're going to have this flickering effect. So make sure everything is manual as possible. So set the shutter speed to the thing. Even if it looks dark, that's fine. Just set everything auto, and also the focus also. The focus actually can be autofocus. I actually find the autofocus to be better if you have a good center point that you can always look at. All right, that's pretty much covered. And also white balance, you may want to set it to manual also, so according to the lighting conditions. That will also help you prevent flicker. That's pretty much covered. So whenever we're gonna be going to Golden Gate, so you're gonna aim at some part in the Golden Gate, take a photo, take a photo, take a photo, while looking at your target the whole time. So that's the important key. So let's go out to the field.
Alright guys, in this first shot, we're going to use the LG-G4, and I'm going to actually pick out the first peak over there. I don't know if you can see it on here, but I'm basically going to use a grid, center it to the second gate over there, top of it, and I'm going to go ahead and move down all the way 300 steps, 300 shots. That will give you 10 seconds of hyperlapse. If you hold the phone like this, your shoulders get really tired. So what you can do is just kind of go like this, take a step, and take a photo. Or a better way to do it, I figured out, was to bring a smartphone holder. So I've got my Readycam here. You can get this on Amazon for like 10 bucks or something. It's totally worth it. I got this Manfrotto, or you can get any kind of stick to hold your phone. That way you can have one hand holding it, and it's not gonna hurt both of your shoulders. You just kind of hold it and take 300 shots. So let's go ahead and try this. Alright guys, so that was a long walk. That was like maybe like 300 yards, maybe 200 yards. So in this next shot, we're gonna go ahead and walk over here a little bit and use Nexus 6 to record RAW. A lot of you complained that I didn't tell you. I said the LG-G4 was the first, but anyway, I brought my Nexus 6 and also an S6 with 5.1.1 and a 1+1. Wait, I might have forgot the S6. So we're gonna go actually walk up there a little bit, and you saw how this shot was going from right to left. Now you don't want to mix right to left and going straight, so when you do that, what happens to when you stabilize it, it'll all mess it up. It's hard to stabilize it, especially if you're doing handheld like I'm doing. If you want to do it like super quality, you can use a tripod. But the hardest part about hyperlapse is how strong you are. It's just a lot of time and effort. My shoulders are already just hurting just from holding the camera and just taking shots. 300 shots I took. So in this next shot, we're gonna go all the way there. See the straightaway? It's sort of straight, so we're gonna kind of look at the Golden Gate and maybe just kind of hand just a little bit, or maybe walk straight into it. That'll kind of give us a little bit of a different hyperlapse. And also you can use a person. If you want to use a person, you can do cool things like jumping and stuff. Will make it look like you're flying and stuff. But I don't have anybody to hold my camera, so we're gonna go ahead and do it this way. Alright guys, in this next shot, we're gonna actually walk backwards because I was gonna actually count it out but it was kind of far. I was gonna walk out 300 steps, but it's just gonna be too much work. So I'm just gonna go backwards, starting over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and use my Nexus 6 this time. All right. Oh, put it on the wrong way. There we go. So this time I'm gonna go ahead and use the N6. And if you're running any Android 5.1.1, it supports PNG RAW. Go ahead and get the Camera FV5 Pro, which I got. It's like $2.99. It's totally worth it, I think, if you want to take RAW videos, because the default camera doesn't have it. Alright, so I've got it set up here, and this time I'm gonna use the first pillar up there, maybe the one on the, yeah, just the first pillar, and just kind of go out. And here's the FB camera. Set the ISO to manual, because if you set it on, if it changes during your shots, it'll cause flickering. So I'm gonna set it to 100, and set your shutter speed to something manual. There we go. So that's sort of got the good shot there. Other than that, also turn off autofocus, because that, well, yeah, because you don't really need it. And you can go ahead and slide to the left, set it to infinity. And you may need a grid crosshair. Okay, this is perfect. See how I can align the center? So I'm actually going to align it to something that I can focus on. Maybe the middle of the bridge right there. So it's the 1, 2, the 3rd, the 4th pillar thing going sideways, a row. Alright, that's what I'm going to aim at. And I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to take a shot. Take a step back. Take a shot. Hi guys, that took forever, but I got 300 shots, starting from the beginning there, all the way here. So we're gonna now walk back and find another location. Alright guys, next we're gonna go to the Fine Palace of Arts, which is like over there a little bit. So I'll see you there. I'm running out of battery on this, so I gotta charge it. Here's a quick look at my bike. Yay, I got the helmet strap too. Okay guys, so I am at Fine Palace of Arts. This is where they had the film the rock. Anyway, I didn't run out of battery. I'm gonna go ahead and use the S6 now. Alright, so in this shot, this is one of the closer shots. I actually like this. I did this as one of the Korean time lapse. I did that with one of the Korean houses. So I'm just gonna go walk all the way there. I'm gonna choose a point, maybe one of those trophy thingies up there. Alright, I'm gonna choose that one. Well, actually the one in the center there. Now I can get the whole shot. And of course I've got this FV5. It doesn't seem to work that well actually in manual mode, so I just set it on auto. I don't know why, but I figured out you can use the grid. The crosshair grid is awesome because it keeps it right in the center, so you can just sort of just tap on it and get exactly the shot you want. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna actually aim at the middle lion thing right there, or maybe one of the naked ladies with the boobies up there. I don't know if you guys can see it. So I'm gonna actually aim at one of those, and I'm just gonna walk all the way that way and see what kind of shot I get. So let's go ahead and try it. Alright, I'm gonna take like a foot step because I feel like that's better for these closer shots. Hi guys, I was actually doing that, but I ran out of room, so I got about 140 shots. I think I'm gonna end it for the, that's probably 4 or 5 seconds. So I'm gonna go ahead and use another phone now. Hi guys, the last phone is PlusOne. Same thing here. Just gonna set it to raw capture, and it actually has the same camera as the Nexus 6. Go ahead and use crosshair here. And here we go. And I'm going to try to do manual mode here. Alright, I'm going to actually set everything auto because the FE5 app is a little funky here. So I'm going to have to just go with it for now. So I'm going to choose a point. I'm going to go all the way around this thing, and I want to kind of capture some of the people also. So I'm going to actually aim somewhat, I'm going to aim at the top of this trophy thing right there, alright? So, ready, set, go. Hi guys, I got most of the shots I wanted, but I couldn't really go another 300 shots with the S6 or the PlusOne. It was just way too much work, so I got 150 shots for S6 and PlusOne. I just ran out of energy. It's just a lot of work, and you know, if you guys want to make hyperlapse, if you want to make it nice with quality, definitely use a DSLR, but I just want to show you that you could also do it with Android. Also, you probably noticed that I was kind of just bringing my arms down and then shooting and doing that because it was nearly impossible to shoot with both of my hands because your shoulders just start cramping up. So my best suggestion is to just take it down, move one step, and then take the shot. Or also you can use a monopod. That would actually be ideal. The monopod does take a little bit longer to set up because you gotta pivot on the ground and then do it. That's why I didn't use a monopod, but it might be a better idea because you could go longer without, you know, tiring out. Anyway, I'm pretty much done. Let's go back to our lab, and we're gonna go ahead and make these into some awesome hyperlapse videos. All right.
Alright guys, I'm finally back, and man, it took me like a couple hours just to shoot those. And I've got all my files transferred. So this is from my LG G4. All of these have DNG and JPEG files. Alright, the DNG files are almost 20 megabytes. The RAW files, you can use JPEG. I mean, if you have really good lighting conditions, you can get some very good hyperlapse out of it. Another thing to note, you may want to do this when you have a very good weather, like I did it in cloudy weather, and just the results weren't that great. The one I took with the LG G4 didn't actually work out that well because I just couldn't stabilize it. It just looks horrible. So we're just gonna skip that. But I'm gonna go ahead and show you. Anyway, this is the first shot. The best I could do was somewhat like this. And you see it's kind of how stuttery and stuff. And what I realize, I'm learning this myself, is that, you know, for scenes where your subject is very far away, you may want to walk a lot more steps. Also, you may want to use a tripod for anything that's far away. But I've gotten pretty good results with the ones that I did close. And I'll give you one of these. I just used the JPEG and kind of did it. So this is the result you can kind of get. Also, let me go ahead and show you the other shot here. And this one looks also really good. And this was all shot with a PlusOne. So let me go ahead and show you how to make a time lapse or hyperlapse. So you will need, of course, Adobe After Effects. And for RAW, you probably want to have also Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Lightroom. All right, and I'll go ahead and show you with Adobe After Effects. All right, let me go ahead and open this up, and I'll show you step by step. I'll show you the JPEG method and also the RAW method. So first one, I'll do the simple one here. We'll do the JPEG method and we'll do the bridge, GG bridge. I'll just put GG bridge. All right, the point of using raw files is that you want to get the best quality out of it. That's why we were using Adobe After Effects. And also, it's the exact same method for DSLR, but you get much higher quality videos afterwards that I found out. All right, for 4K, you'll want to set the width to 3840 by 2160. All right, and also frame rate, you can do 24 if you want cinematic, but I do 29.97. That's how I shoot most of my videos. And I'm gonna go ahead and hit OK. Sorry, I would totally do the screen recording thing, but I don't have a 4K monitor and I wanna output this in 4K. That's why I'm just using my camera. I'll have to update my monitor soon here. All right, once you have a composition, it'll show up here. This is your composition down here. And what you wanna do is basically import, go to File, and go into your time lapse. And this one we'll do the Nexus 6 first. That's the second Golden Gate bridge I did. Again, the footage that I did with the LG-G4 just didn't make it, so I'm just not going to show you. It just botched, you know, all that time I spent. All right, so we're going to do the JPEG first. So if you're going to do JPEG, select the first file in your sequence, the first shot you took, and select JPEG sequence and force alphabetical order. And this will bring up all of your files and put it together into a 4K movie. And it'll say Nexus 6 here. So I'm going to go ahead and just simply drag that, click and drag, and you'll have your footage right here. All right, so your image is this big, but 4K is this big. So you're actually able to use a lot of the parts of it. So you can use this part, you can use this part, or you can also resize it if you want. If you hold down Shift, you'll be able to resize it without losing your original aspect ratio. So for this, I'm gonna just leave it at 100. Also, to get back to normal, just hit S. It will show you scale, and then this will get you back to 100. Just start at 100 because when you stabilize it, if you have it scaled down, it'll kind of mess it up. So let's go ahead and just go through here. And also, you'll want to change your workspace here. Go ahead and bring this bar down all the way. Hold down Shift, and then this is where your footage ends. And this will take a little bit of time to go through. Go ahead and hit this button way over here. It's the preview, the RAM preview. And then go ahead and hit that button. It will actually go through the JPEG files, put it in your RAM, and then you'll be able to preview it. And you'll see it's not that bad actually without any stabilization. But obviously, let me actually make this, make it like this so you can see better. You can see it's not that bad, but it is obviously very shaky. So this is where the warp stabilizer comes in. It is very shaky. So what you can do is go to this setting here, Effects and Presets on the right. If you don't see that, you could enable it in Windows here. And go here, go to Distort, go all the way down to Warp Stabilizer VFX, all right? Go ahead and click and drag that into your footage. All right, and this will basically analyze your footage and stabilize it. And it works like most of the time, like 90% of the time, this is what I use. Again, if you're shooting something that's way far away and you're kind of panning, it's not going to work as well, so stay away from that. Or you may want to use a tripod or a better camera. But this is pretty good because I'm very close to the Golden Gate and I'm just kind of moving away. Also, if you're doing just straight away, just going back or going forward, the warp stabilizer works really well. Like, let's say you want to do a hyperlapse of a bridge, you can just go through, go back. So this will take actually 5 minutes. And if you want to do this with 4K, you'll need a pretty powerful computer. I've got an Intel i7 up there, that PC I built a long time ago. Some of you guys seen the video with 3 R9 280Xs. So this computer is pretty darn fast. But if you don't have a fast computer, you can stick with like 1080p and try it too, which isn't bad. But the good thing with taking the individual photos, why you don't use with those Microsoft time-lapse mobile apps, is because you have all of this footage to work with. So you can also, if you're doing regular time-lapse where you're not moving, you can also pan your videos without having a tracker or slider. So that's how I did it in my other time-lapse video. Okay, this is gonna analyze, this is gonna take a while, another 4 minutes, so I will be back when this is done. All right guys, it is done, and let's do a preview here, RAM preview. And let's see how this will look. All right, it's way more stable as you can see here. And it's a little bit wobbly, just because, I don't know, while I was taking it, the Nexus 6 was kind of moving around. I was kind of running out of energy already at this point. I should have really brought a monopod. I think monopod will look a lot better. But it's not that bad for handheld on an Android device with a smartphone that you could make something like this. So this is going, and I'm just going to stop it. And I'm going to render it out to actual MP4 file, so we'll be able to see it. And I'm going to go ahead and use export. You can use add to render queue, which will use the render, but I like to use the Adobe Media Encoder. This is a software I use with Adobe Premiere. This is a separate software, so if your Adobe After Effects crashes, it's still running. And if it crashes, you can rerun it and redo it. So this is how I do it, but you can do it however you want. I like to do 4K 50 megabits per second render at maximum depth. Maximum render quality, but there's a ton of options. You can do AVI, QuickTime. If you're using Mac, QuickTime might be faster, all that good stuff. And then my final size will be 64 megabytes. And you can go ahead and choose your output directory. I'm gonna just go ahead and put it into this directory here, GG Bridge, and I'm gonna say just JPEG. So this is the one I made with JPEG, and I'm gonna hit OK. Hit play, and this is gonna render. All right, while that's rendering, let me go ahead and show you how to do it using raw files. So I have the raw image files, and we'll take a look at the end the difference between these two. So for this, I'm gonna go ahead and simply make new composition, and I'm gonna say GG Bridge raw, and everything else the same. If you want to do 1080p, you can set the width and height for 1080p. All right, it's the same thing, but the difference is that import, I'm gonna go to import file, and I'm gonna choose the DNG file, which is a raw file now. And I'm gonna go ahead and choose camera raw sequence and force alphabetical order. Import, and this will actually bring up the first file in the DNG. Now raw files are unedited, so it actually might not look as good as a JPEG. That's why you actually have to mess with it before you use it. So editing this one file will affect all the other files. Now if you're doing some kind of sunrise or something, you may want to edit the middle of the file using Adobe Lightroom or Photoshop. And then it creates an XMP file. You may want to rename it just to the first file. If you don't know how to do that, don't worry about it. Just follow this tutorial, and then later you can get into all that. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and try to get more of the clouds there. See, I can't really see it. Let me go ahead and play with the clarity first. No, not really anything there. Maybe the shadows. Okay, maybe not. Maybe the exposure. Oh, there we go. So exposure going down a little bit. You can see I pick up a little bit more of the shadows there. But that makes all of the Golden Gate here very dark. So I'm going to actually bring up the shadows a little bit. Just enough so I can actually see under it. Right? And I think if you play with the blacks, it'll actually do it. But see how it degrades the photo? So I'm not going to mess with it too much. And let me go ahead and zoom back out here. And that looks pretty good. But I want to get sort of a different effect than the JPEG. So I'm going to actually try something interesting. Let's actually bring up the clarity a little bit. Right? And bring it down. Bringing it down, you get sort of a dreamy effect there. Softens everything. bring it up, it kind of sharpens everything. So depending on how you want to do it. Let me bring it up a little bit, and also the vibrance a little bit. Get the colors in there. And I want to make it sort of a little bit dreamy. And I think this is where, you know, this is where you can make the photos look very, very different. And, you know, it's a great way to use the raw files. And I want to kind of get that rustic look because when I'm zooming out, there's a bunch of bricks and stuff. So I actually want to make this part a little bit rustic. I don't know, I just like that look. Don't ask me why. Clarity, let me try to play with it. Maybe increase it a little bit. See how it's kind of rustic now? All right, vibrance there. And also, I forgot to mention, you can also correct with this file. Let me actually, there we go. You can also correct, here we go. You can also correct some of the vignetting here. There is, if you go up here, I'll do this again with the other files, but go to Enable Lens File Profile Corrections, and there's actually a little vignetting if I didn't get rid of everything. And choose, for most phones, you should be able to choose like 28mm f1.8. That should be about what we're using with the smartphones. It doesn't have a smartphone thing. All right, so see how that's kind of got rid of the distortion there? Because every lens sort of has slight distortion, vignetting. So this will sort of fix it. See how it straightens everything out? So that is really nice to use. I think so. You don't have to, but. All right, it looks pretty good, but I feel like I lost the shadows a little bit. So you can go ahead and play with this all day long until you get the perfect shot, though just the way you want it. Contrast. And maybe I want to make it slightly dreamy. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go for a slightly dreamy look. So bring this back down a little bit. And you can sort of kind of get it super red there. I think this is fine. Not too bad. So I'm not going for the rustic look anymore. I'm just going for whatever I want to do here. Shadows are not changing that much. All right, so that looks pretty good. And I'm going to go ahead and hit OK. And this will import all the files, the raw files. And then go ahead and click and drag like you did before. And then go ahead and make sure your workspace goes down here. So that's about 11 seconds of stuff. And go ahead and hit the RAM preview. And this will actually take a long time because I'm using raw files. You can wait for it. So I'm just not going to do it because we already did the RAM preview with the JPEG and we know how shaky it is. So I'm just going to simply apply the warp stabilizer here. Let's go click and drag warp stabilizer. And this will take another like 10 minutes or so. So this is done, or this is going, not done. And you can see that our GG bridge is done. So I'm going to go ahead and go into my file here. And here's my final file here. And you can see that it doesn't look too bad. It's a little bit wobbly, but for handheld, using my Nexus 6, using the JPEG, it doesn't look too bad. And also what you can do is you can also reverse the timeline if you want to get it going backwards, because you know I got too lazy or I got too tired and I was supposed to start from the back and come forward. You can also just reverse the footage and you can get some good results. But that doesn't look too bad. You know, I mean, it could be better. Next time I'll probably use a tripod or a monopod because my hands kept getting tiring and it was just impossible to keep shooting 300 images, and I'll probably shorten it down. You may want to do like maybe 3 seconds of a scene, 3 seconds of another scene. I find that's better. And if you have a lot of stuff moving, like this one, it's the building comes out and then there's more stuff coming out. The more stuff you have, it's harder to stabilize later, especially if you're doing handheld. So, you know, the less stuff that's kind of moving around, maybe if it was just the Golden Gate Bridge in the photo and I'm just moving back, the stabilization gonna be much, much better. But that's not too bad. But we'll go ahead and compare it later with our other one here. All right, so while that's analyzing, we can go ahead and do the rest of them. So I'm gonna do the next one, the Fine Palace of Arts. I'm gonna just do Palace of Arts. And I did 2 shots, one here. I'll just put S6 like that. Fine Palace of Arts S6. And this is the one I took with the Galaxy S6. And this time I'm just going to do everything raw because that way I'll get the best footage out of it. So same thing, camera raw sequence, forced alphabetical order, import, and this will bring up a camera raw from Photoshop. Now if you have Lightroom, you can also edit it beforehand and it will create an XMP file. Make sure there's an XMP file for the first photo and then open it up, and Adobe Effects will read that automatically. Oops, this is the wrong one. Sorry. All right, let me go back here. Go to the S6. I'm going to go ahead and choose the DNG file. Camera raw sequence, forced alphabetical order. I know this tutorial is super long, but I know some of you are super interested in it, and it's pretty much the same method for DSLR. I mean, the better camera you have, the better it will stabilize because you'll have more details and also the ability to, you know, do better. Now this one, I want to really get that rustic look because I really like that. Sort of almost like, you know, make it like very vibrant and HDR like, if I can. And the bad part about this shot is that I had clouds, but they're all just white. There's no like, the best I think is if there's some clouds and also some blue sky mixed. That's the best. And you can see the clouds moving. In Asia, when I was in Asia, it was just like that. So I brought up the clarity a little bit and the vibrance a little bit and saturation a little bit, right? And maybe play with the contrast here a little bit. All right, maybe not. And let me go ahead and play with the shadows, right? This should bring up some of the shadowy parts here. That's the good thing about RAW because you can kind of increase the shadows so you can see the inside and the outside. Whites, will that help? I think decreasing the whites a little bit kind of helps with the detail. For the blacks, I don't think it actually does anything. All right, again here, before I did all of this, I should have actually showed you the vignetting thing. I'm going to do the same thing, go to enable lens profile corrections. Just choose custom, and I'm going to set it to Canon. 28mm, I think is pretty much 28 f1.8. I think it's dead on with most smartphone cameras. You can do 28, 24, mess around, but if you try like something like a fisheye lens, it'll just distort the crap out of it. See? Yeah, don't do that. So 28 f1.8 should work for most of you, or f2.8. Nope. So do that first before you do it. If you see any kind of blackness on the side, that'll help it, I think. All right, I think I've just brought up the shadows a little too much. Okay, you can also go to the third tab, second tab, third tab, fourth tab. There's a bunch of controls. Let's say you want to make this more orange. Go ahead and do that, kind of highlight it. Actually, let's just try it for fun and make this kind of just our own creation. All right, and I'm gonna make the yellows yellower. And also the greens, I wanna just kind of highlight everything. No, aquas, nope. Greens, see how the greens back here? We're gonna make it super green. Just make it the way we want to. All right, you can just play with this all day long and get some really cool footage out of it. Oops, all right. That's pretty good, I think, right there. And that's pretty much it for the Galaxy S6 version. And I'm gonna go ahead and drag and drop here. And you can see the aspect ratio different for the S6 because it was set at 16:9. The other one is 4x3. Just shoot at whatever gives you the maximum resolution. See how this one I can just perfectly fit it, almost perfectly fit it into the box here. All right, I'm gonna actually just keep it at that, and I'm just gonna do. I'm gonna just do preview here real quick. Hit the RAM preview, and we'll just look at the first couple scenes because I know this is way shaky. It's just shaky because I shot it with my hand. All right, just look at the couple scenes here. Yeah. All right, so it's very shaky. You can see the first couple shots. So I'm just gonna apply a warp stabilizer because I know it's very shaky. All right, and this will stabilize your shot there. So while that's going, let's go back here, and this one is almost done. The other, the new one I did raw, and we'll take a look at there. So you can do all of this while it's going. So I'm gonna do an extra new composition. I'm gonna name this Palace of Arts OPO for 1+1. And I'm gonna go ahead and import the file again here. Go to the OPO is 1+1. And choose on the first DNG file, and the same thing here. So basically, you do all this color correction, you know, for all of them, and then you put it in the Adobe After Effects. It takes a long time. But if you do it right on certain shots that I've made, I mean, it looks really good. So, you know, if you use on the app, you're not going to get anywhere near these results just because those are apps, and, you know, you actually need some powerful computer to process it. So this is what I was talking about. Most smartphones, the shot, it has these vignetting. It's just because how the lens is shaped, and see how it's sort of curved there. And you can do this first, I think, before you do everything else. So go to the tab again, Lens Corrections, enable Lens Profile Corrections. Select Custom Canon, and then we'll just choose 28mm f1.8. Nope, that one actually made it worse. f2.8. Nope. All right, this is the 1+1, so it should be. Try a 24mm f2.8. See if that makes it better, or f1.4. Okay, it doesn't seem to actually improve it. 20mm. All right, I'm just gonna set it with f1.8 28mm. No, it's not making any changes. Something's wrong here. You know what? It's not. It doesn't seem to be improving. Since this is not the super accurate method, I'm just gonna leave that off and then just try to make the footage better using all these controls here. Let's bring up the shadows. You can see I can't really see the inside. Now I can see it real good. So I'm gonna bring up the shadows all the way. And bring up the clarity a little bit. Vibrance, just a tad. Saturation, I'm not gonna mess with it. Also contrast. Let me bring up the exposure a little bit like that. And I'm gonna play with the contrast a little bit. Okay, is that better? Still has that vignetting. All right, actually that does look a lot better. A little contrast. Highlights. 1 or 2? 1 or 2? I feel like less highlights is a little bit better. Okay, just a tad. Not that much. Whites. A little bit of whites seems to help. Black. I'm not sure. Not too bad. You know, so I'm just gonna go with this for now. And also you can increase the sharpening here. Just zoom in before you do it so you know, whoop, that's too much. It's probably too much sharpening. A little bit more. Actually, these shots actually look pretty good close up. It's very detailed. I like it. Okay, just a little bit is fine. Right there, 48. Okay. So I'm finally done editing this image, and I'm gonna go ahead and hit OK. And this will bring up all my files here, OPO, and I'm gonna go ahead and drag it into my composition. And I'm just gonna apply warp stabilizer because I know this thing is just shaky. You can see it's very shaky. So use warp stabilizer. You can also, if you use a tripod, you can do this without even any stabilization. The reason I'm using it because obviously because it's handheld. Just making it for people who want to use Android. Maybe you can't afford a DSLR. You don't have, you know, you don't want to bring your heavy camera around everywhere. There are occasions, if you have really good lighting, you can probably get really good results. I didn't really have good lighting, but still it wasn't bad. But if you had really good lighting, you could probably get just as good results as a DSLR out of a smartphone. All right, while that's going, let's go take a look at our S6. This one's actually done. And it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna do the preview because it's a RAW file, it's gonna take forever. And actually go look at this RAW one also. The second RAW we did here. And looks pretty good. So I'm gonna just create the file, add to media encoder, choose my preset is 50 megabits per second. I just do it at 50 because I usually render at 40 megabits per second for my final 4K video for YouTube. So doing it at 50 maybe it will help. I'm not a total expert at this. I'm just a hack. All right, so that's done. I'm gonna hit OK. And we have footage for that and also find Palace of Arts. Now what you can do is go ahead and resize it. Hold the shift down so you don't lose the aspect ratio. I'm gonna go ahead and go down all the way. And make sure there's no, sometimes when you stabilize it, it might crop it out because that's how its stabilizing works. But this one looks pretty good. So I can get the whole footage in 4K. And it's gonna look really good. I'm gonna go ahead and export this just the way it is. And also set this to 50 megabits per second at maximum depth. All right, we're almost done. And Palace of Arts, I just gotta wait for another 100 frames here. And we'll export that and we'll take a look at the results. All right guys, I know this tutorial is getting super long, but bear with me. So this is done with the warp stabilizer. It looks pretty stable, I think. All right, let me go ahead and export it out. I'd rather just export it out. That's, you know, you can do the preview, but I know I actually did this before so I could make a video without making this video too long. But I spent all day yesterday and today trying to make this video. So 4K 50 megabits per second, maximum depth. Render that out. And also let's see if we, the Palace of Arts, find Palace of Arts with the Galaxy S6. Yes, this one, actually, no, we did this already. All right, so I just gotta wait for all these to render out and I will be back. And we'll look at the results. All right guys, this is finally done. I'm gonna close out of this and let me go ahead and show you the results. And I'm just gonna go ahead and close this out. Droid time lapse. You can always come back to it and edit it the way you want to. Let's actually go take a look at our results here. So let's actually first look at the results of the GG Bridge RAW. This is the first one we did with the JPEG. Oh, actually, no, this is the second one we did. So you'll see the colors are a little bit more lively, but actually the shots, I don't know, I just felt like there wasn't that much to do. I wish there was more clouds that you could see. I mean, it was just like, the clouds were just filling it up here. So that's the original versus the RAW version. So with the RAW, you just have more control. The JPEG doesn't do that bad either. But when I did this with my DSLR, I felt a lot more difference between JPEG and RAW. I just feel like with the smartphones, it's not as a huge difference. Let's actually go look at the Fine Palace of Arts with the Galaxy S6. This is the first one I did. And you can see it's a little bit jittery. I mean, it's not perfect, but for handheld, it's not that bad. And also it was very cloudy again. If it's not cloudy, if you can capture better photos, it will stabilize a lot better. And again, if you use monopod or tripod, you can also make the footage a lot better too. All right, let's actually go look at the last one here with the OnePlus And this one I think is actually the best one out of all of them. I actually really like this one. Let's take a look again. It's very stable, I think, everything, even though we're moving around. I just feel like for handheld, if you want to just kind of wing it, the best way to do it is get a big object like this and just kind of go around it. So I had a big radius as I showed you before. So that's not too bad, but I hope you guys enjoyed this long tutorial. Now you know how to make hyperlapse. This is probably much better. I mean, this is all 4K. It's, you know, and also you can mess with it later on and get a better footage out of it, edit the photos. But this is actually my first time doing it, and I miss my DSLR. And thanks guys for watching this video. That was how to make 4K hyperlapse videos using your Android device. And the instructions are pretty much identical for DSLR cameras or any other cameras that does RAW or JPEG. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or Google+, Instagram at reallyhighonandroid.com. Really high on Android. And I'll see you guys soon. As always, I'll stay on Android.